Welcome to Vancouver Island. Let's talk about The Glass Hotel by Emily St. John Mandel, a 2020 literary novel. It's about the disappearance of a woman in the Indian Ocean. It's about and the collapse of a massive Ponzi scheme, a la Bernie Madoff, in 2008. Very much not that, but very much that in a way, and it centering all around a five-star exclusive hotel at the northern tip of Vancouver Island, Hotel Cayette. Very much done in this kind of glass and cedar thing. If you've ever seen the Battlestar Galactica, the more modern one, the villain in that lives in one of these kind of glass modern houses, which of course, if you're a villain, you live in kind of glass modernist places. And the North Coast version of that is glass with cedar. And this I could totally see this hotel in the thing. So Emily St. John Mandel, born on Vancouver Island, now resides in New York City. And is known for her novel Station 11. That was the novel just before this one, which is 2014, which is a pre- and post-apocalyptic novel about a plague that wipes out like 99.9% of the world. And it's very much kind of on the literary end of the post-apocalyptic things. For the science fiction nuts out there, she does not kind of work out all the nuts and bolts of kind of the scientific, the science scenario and things like that. She's much more interested in kind of the people and just the really striking images. That novel has the really striking image of this troupe in the post-apocalyptic world, of a troupe of Shakespearean actors, troupe going through the countryside, bringing plays, bringing a little bit of the human memory, the human life with them. And is probably one of the things I'll kind of carry with that novel, from that novel down. This one, it's delving into it's like the core of this novel is a Ponzi scheme, is the financial thing of you take in as much customers' money as you can, you promise like just inconceivable, basically just mathematically you cannot make this much money on investments, but the secret of it is, of course, you just keep on taking in more and more money from the suckers, from your victims, and then paying out, using that money to pay out dividends. You never actually invest anything. And eventually, like all Ponzi schemes, it collapses and it destroys people's lives. This is set around 2008, is when indeed we had the giant financial collapse where, yes, someone like Bernie Madoff went to jail forever, but the system that kind of spawned him, that encouraged him, that nurtured him, continued on. But it's a novel that is actually much more surrounded in the human stuff around that, like the people around this black hole of a figure, Jonathan Arcadis at the center. It's as the novel starts, it's begin at the end. This novel begins at the end with Vincent, this young woman going off into the sea, off of a shipping container ship in the Indian Ocean. That's where the novel begins, and it sort of flashes back, but it's not sort of like a Sunset Boulevard, where you get at the opening of that movie, you have the writer face down dead in the pool narrating the rest of the movie. In this, you do get Vincent narrating what has come before and a little bit after, but you also get multi characters. You start off with Vincent, and then there's Paul, her estranged half brother, who is a drug addict. You get the hotel, the kind of the hotel staff, the victims of the people who are at the beginning are just Jonathan Arcadis's clients. You get Jonathan Arcadis himself. You get the office chorus, which is just basically all this team around him of people who they wonder, were they selected because they were morally bankrupt, or was it that anybody who was offered this kind of money would end up corrupt, would become thieves, as is sort of stated at the end of the novel? Is like, both of us this character saying we were thieves, we were corrupt from the beginning, we were corrupt early. So yeah, it's got this wonderful structure to it, which it starts with Vincent, it ends with Vincent, and then it interlocks like it's like a shell, like a shell game, which is in some ways I think of it's like a Ponzi scheme. It's shells within shells, which gives it a strangely kind of comforting structure to what's a rather bleak message about this novel. You know at the beginning that these are doomed characters in a way. You know from the beginning that Vincent dies at the very beginning of the thing. You know early on that Jonathan Archaeus is going to jail for all this, that this is going to collapse. You get characters who are saying like, oh, I'm narrating this with my therapist years later. It's always this kind of retrospective kind of feel on it. It's elegiac, it's regretful, it's for a time past. It's like there has been a rupture of what the world was before and now what the world is after. Things we built up this fantasy world, this complete fake, and it goes down at the end. Now, that is the wonderful thing with this. Is like, yeah, you get, as I was reading the novel, I was like, oh, Ponzi, and like, oh, Bernie it's like, so I looked up Ponzi, and then I looked up Bernie Madoff, because I started reading about Bernie Madoff and going like, oh, this is so much Bernie Madoff, but, it's like an echo of Bernie Madoff. It's not him, but it's like, it's basically, it's like, this is all true, which, it makes it all the more horrifying, because you can see that the world that it's left behind is very much our world now. Now, it's funny that this is also a novel that really has its literary influences. I was very lucky that I have just read The Great Gatsby, and I probably have a review of it somewhere on my channel. But in prison, all they're teaching is F. Scott Fitzgerald novels, which it's like there's a little echo there of like, yes, the places where F. Scott Fitzgerald is enforced reading, prisons and schools. But there is definitely kind of the feeling of the echo of the criminal James Gatz is very much echoed here with Jonathan Archaeus, and they're both figures that are hollow and are building up an illusion which collapses at the end. Though you could argue that Gatsby was far less of a psychopath than someone like Bernie Madoff or Jonathan Archaeus, who ruined and probably caused countless people to like commit suicide, just destroyed lives. But this novel has that same thing with Gatsby as portraying the kind of the elegant emptiness of these people. It's like going out into the wilderness and like, oh, I'm enjoying kind of the emptiness. And it's like this novel is that you're enjoying the kind of the surface emptiness. This isn't people who are actually living, like, going up and being a part of landscape of nature. This is people who are going up into the middle of nowhere and staying in a 5-star hotel. It's that kind of experience. It's that is what these kind of people are. And I would include Vincent in that very much, as someone who you realize is as culpable, is as guilty as the man that she pretended to be the wife of for such a long period of time while he was busy fleecing people in this stuff. It definitely is. I really think about Gatsby, and it's, there's the end of Gatsby. I don't think it's a spoiler, but there's the whole thing of beating ceaselessly against the waves, whereas you have Vincent dropping into the middle of the Indian Ocean, and how that goes for her, and basically just like annihilation. It's like it's both much more. It's like this is a continuation of Gatsby. This is also a much kind of it's kind of a harsher, colder thing. The novel shows people who are cast off into a shadowland, where it's like, you failed, you lost all your money, you are now living into the interseas of our world. You are cast out of being a citizen of the, like, of the United States, of Canada. You're living in the little, you're a nomad. I think there's a movie, it's called Nomadland, that I know is out at the moment. I have not seen it, but it deals with these sort of people who, like, they have no home anymore. They live in vans. They live in RVs. They go from place to place. Like, they're basically migrant workers. It's just like more and more of this. I mean, if you can say a thing about this novel, it's like, yes, Jonathan Arcadia's, the people that he's ripped off are people who actually, for a moment there, actually were on the other side of that economic divide. This isn't a novel that is going to engage with people who were never, ever had a chance. We're never on that side, that have always been scraping from paycheck to paycheck, from on the edge of homelessness all their lives, who never had this chance. So there is a sense that this is also kind of a privileged book that way. Or that, at least, like, it's concerned with kind of a middle class, a kind of a comfortable middle class thing, which, admittedly, that's basically where I come from. I came up from a family who had a house, and I've always had housing all my life. I had no concept of that, but I'm just sort of mindful that this book caters to me in a way that maybe it wouldn't cater to other experiences of our life now. And I mean, I don't want to put this in, like, kind of terms of like it's an economics book or anything like that. This is very much kind of it's a very ghostly book, to be honest. There's a thing about this that is, it's almost, these people are hollowed out ghosts of themselves before they become ghosts, and there's people in here who are haunted by ghosts, that maybe that's the only, I don't even know if that's a retribution in a way, that kind of comes up for some of the people in this book, that they're haunted. So yeah, The Glass Hotel. Definitely another really striking book by Emily St. John Mandel. If she's kind of toying with using the post-apocalypse notions to kind of set that in a kind of a literary context, then this is a book where you get something of maybe even slightly more faintly of kind of the idea of a ghost story in this kind of book, but maybe also something like kind of the noirish thing of Sunset Boulevard. And just sort of, there's something with that and Great Gatsby of looking at a kind of a part of our society which is very glamorous, and slightly maybe slipping into maybe glamorizing it. It's like one of these things of like the Great Gatsby was sort of, you take it up into a movie thing and you can't help but making Gatsby look good. I would wonder if this is the kind of book that, if it was turned into a movie, it would maybe have that danger of making Jonathan Arcada and Vincent look too good, look too like romantic of a couple, when they're really deeply empty, hollow shells of human beings. And maybe one of them at least finds something a little bit at the end there, but it's still annihilation at the end. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. I've been babbling. The Glass Hotel by Emily St. John Mandel. More videos later.